So in this diagram, you can see that we have persistent volume and persistent volume claim. So persistent volume and persistent volume claim, and also the storage class, they are part of something called persistent volume subsystem. So the persistent volume subsystem provides an API for users and admins that abstract details of how storage is provided from how it's consumed. And all of this is done through persistent volume and persistent volume claim. So this is how it works. So here we have the storage provider, which you've seen in the previous video. Now this gets translated to Kubernetes as a persistent volume. Now from the persistent volume, we can actually configure the storage class. So here we can say, right, so do we want a fast storage, slow storage, or both? And we can configure the parameters for how we provide storage within our cluster. Then we have the persistent volume claim. So this is how an end user gets access to a persistent volume. Now, if the persistent volume, for example, has 20 gigs of storage, the persistent volume claim can ask for 20 gigs or less. And this is how pods, so the pod is the actual user, requests for some storage. Now, the persistent volume is a storage resource provided by an administrator. The persistent volume claim is a user request for and claim to a persistent volume. And then we have something called storage class. And this describes the parameters for a class of storage for which persistent volumes can be dynamically provisioned. Now that you know about persistent volumes and the persistent volume subsystem, next let's go ahead and use the persistent volume type local in our cluster.